Hello, welcome to Aggie Eco-Reps YouTube channel. My name is Noriki. I am international student from Japan. As you know, this is second week of sustainable month. So I'm gonna talk about regenerative food production today. When you hear regenerative food production, you may think of um, organic farming, non-organic farming, GMO, conservative water use, minimum tillage, or something like that. But there's enough, there's no enough time to talk all of them today. So we're gonna just talk about greenhouse gas emission from food production and local 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 direct marketing. Yeah. So to make it easier, I will switch the video into my presentation.
All right, so we all set. Let's get started. So why do we have to care about food production? That's because agricultural activity contribute 24% of total greenhouse gas emission in world. And more than that, some greenhouse gases like methane, nitrous oxide, from food production has 28 to 300 times higher potential as the greenhouse gases than CO2 does. As you look at this diagram here, so many pathways, in, inflow, outflow pathways of greenhouse gases from agriculture. Let's say bare soil or naked soil after harvesting cause a lot of CO2 emission, and some crops like rice, cows can emit the methane, and too much nitrogen and compost processing will cause nitrous oxide emission, which is uh, nearly 300 times higher potential than CO2. Those emissions can be increased by usually low efficiency in fertilizer and livestock, species of livestock and numbers of livestock the farmers have, and non-conservative management is one thing. It's like um, too much tillage, so that damage the community of the soil and increase the soil respiration there, or too much fertilizer input will cause escaping a lot of nitrous oxide from soil. So it's impossible to completely eliminate those a lot of greenhouse gases pathways, but we can minimize the emissions. That's where the regenerative food um, production ideas came from. So just fun facts here: 80% of total terrestrial carbon is stored in topsoil, which is 6 inches just under the surface. About more than 3,000 gigaton is in terrestrial carbon, and 800 gigaton of carbon is in atmosphere, and 2,500 gigaton is in is sink in soil, topsoil, where almost all of the agriculture activity happens. Mm. That shows how important not to fail managing those topsoil in food production. That's essential for um, carbon footprint. So regenerative food production. Some people may get confused with regenerative food production and organic farming, but those are different because of following four components here. So regenerative food production has conservative tillage. This is a technique to minimize or eliminate the tillage application so that we can conserve the microbe activity, microbe community under the ground and minimize exposure of the soil into atmosphere so that we can delay the soil respiration and escape of the greenhouse gases. And biodiversity is also a component of regenerative food production. We can grow different crops in one field so that we can bring different types of biological activity and chemical activities in there, which brings different nutrient in the soil, different bacteria in the soil, so that we can minimize the nutrient requirements in the soil. Also, rotation in cover crop that regenerative food production has. That's my favorite. Yeah, so that's basically growing different crops during off season. Like for example, one farmer can grow cotton as the main crops, and after harvesting the cotton, he can grow another crops during the winter so that we can minimize the time for soil to be exposure or to remain bare or naked so that we can reduce those greenhouse gas emissions. Also, farmers gotta be careful to misapplication of fertilizer and soil amendment. Those four components are essential for regenerative food production so that we are not just doing sustainable food production, but regenerative benefits on ecosystem activity, ecosystem environment. So now a lot of research institute and university are conducting a lot of researches about regenerative food production. Texas A&M here is also conducting a lot of researches about no-tillage management and rotation and cover crop cropping system. Yes, this is hot topics today. Okay, so what we can do to reduce our emissions as an individual. That's simple. Prioritize vegetable, minimize meat consumption. This graph shows clearly shows the significance of greenhouse gas emission from meat. This different color shows different steps that foods has to be taken before you get in them in grocery store. So beef has to beef emit a lot of greenhouse gases using the land use change and farming process and feeds, processing, transport, and retail and packaging. So beef from beef herd emit 60 units of carbon footprints per kilograms. It's more than twice than second place, which is lamb and mutton. So, and as you go down, vegetables emit less and less carbon greenhouse gas emissions than the meat or lactose products. So yeah, if you wanna reduce your emissions right now or immediately, you can definitely choose the vegetable related products and minimize meat consumption. Also, choosing locally produced foods will be helpful to minimize the greenhouse gas emissions. Right. So that's all for this weekly contents this week. Please don't forget to check all of the events happening in Sustainable Month this month. Please follow our Instagram and check those information. A bunch of good things will be happening next week and next week. So yes, check it out. Okay, so I will just turn this screen into me outside. Thank you.
Howdy. Thank you for watching this video. If you want more information, just click on the description below and follow our Instagram. And see you on next video.